on Northern News Now.
It's kind of strange being on the other side of the coin.
Meet Garrett Franks, a Superior resident, talking about a life-changing moment that happened when he was 19 years old. It was then Franks and his friend saved a Duluth woman and her 3 young children from a house fire. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Laura Lee. Garrett Franks found himself in a situation he never expected to be on the other side of until earlier this year. Northern News Now's Cara Kopp shares how his story and the moment of losing everything, he found hope.
Last month in the Nottingham apartment building, everything changed for Garrett and Carly Franks.
I woke up and I heard the alarm go off. I smelled it, but I didn't really register because I just woke up.
It was 1 a.m. Carly woke up her dad, warning him of the fire just 2 doors down from their apartment.
So I knew exactly what that smell was. So I turned to her and I said, when we get out of this apartment, I want you on your knees and crawling to the floor to the stairs.
It was after they both escaped the reality of the situation hit.
Then I was just thankful for her. To be there. So.
Despite losing most of their clothing, medication, childhood mementos, and their home, hope wasn't lost. With only the clothing on their back, they made their way to Red Cross.
It really is a traumatic experience. There's the financial impact, there's the sort of personal loss, and there's this uncertainty, which is one of the hardest things for folks to get through.
The Northern Minnesota chapter of Red Cross not only provided support for the Franks following the fire, but 25 other families in the building. A shocking reminder of the abnormally busy year for Red Cross volunteers.
Over this last 12 months, actually responded to more home fires than any time in the 10 years that I've been with the Red Cross.
Despite the demand for help, the Red Cross bands together to help families like the Franks get back on their feet.
They're here to help.
Allowing this father and daughter to walk away from this experience knowing the community has their back. In Superior, Cara Kopp, Northern News Now.
Yeah, so happy that family's getting the support they need. Garrett and Carly plan to return to their apartment in a few months once it's restored. In the meantime, the Red Cross says these stories are reminders why donations make a big difference. If you'd like to volunteer or donate, head to our website at northernnewsnow.com.